Hi everyone, and I've been talking to Michael for a while. But right now I am currently homeless, living in Vista. Uh, but I never let my situation get me down. I always stay positive, always working, whether it's a temp agency or going around and trying to find a full-time job. Like in a couple weeks, I'll be starting a security company.
So tell us about this security job that you're going to be starting. You mentioned something about like there were opportunities to like kind of
At first
work your way up.
it's gonna be at a golf course for a golf tournament,
Yeah,
doing like 14 hours a day, and then after that I'll be covering other different sites
cool, great.
until eventually a site supervisor position opens up, and then I'll become that.
When do you think that's going to be?
Hopefully within a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's good. Okay,
but
so that's a couple months from now.
yeah. Well,
So what do you really have your sights set on here as far as the security job?
the the golf tournament's supposed to be starting in a couple weeks, so I plan on
Yeah.
doing that for however long that job lasts for, and
So is
then
that going to work into the other thing?
yeah, because I'll be doing security, and on my days off from the security, I'll work for the temp agency. I have a friend that lives out there in Marietta, and he owns an electronics company, and eventually I
You used to
plan.
sell cars, didn't you, or something like that? Or...
He got into the car business now, but he mostly sells anything like electronics, and
Right.
eventually I plan on going back up there and helping him out. But in the
Okay.
meantime,
You ever sold cars, or do you do that too? Or... You have a lot of talents. I mean, what...
I can, but
I just like to say that Conrad here, like he's, this guy knows a lot about computers, and we're just going to do one thing. Okay, Conrad, tell me, like, you were telling me about the experience where you sold somebody a laptop in the store.
when I first started working with my friend, he was selfish.
He was selfish.
That's the best way to put it. Is he was selfish. He cared more about the money need than he did about the customer service. So
How did you turn the sale around where he couldn't do
so
it?
the customer was gonna walk out, and I happened to stop him, and I explained to him that I was the new sales manager, and I told him I'm the new sales manager. I would like the opportunity to take you back over there and answer all your questions about the laptop.
Okay.
And I'll take the time, explain it to you, make sure you understand how everything on it works, and I'll let you play on it and do whatever you need to do.
Okay, so right,
And
so you took that where the other salesman wasn't. He kind of just brushed him off, right? He just said, "Well,
yeah,
I kind of like don't really have time."
so basically, the customer agreed to give me the opportunity to sell him the laptop. So I took him back over,
Right on.
explained everything to him, showed him everything, and let him play on the laptop, and eventually he bought the laptop.
So he bought the laptop because of you, because you
Yes.
turned around the sale, right?
Yeah, he bought the laptop because I took the time to explain everything to him and make sure he understood everything. I didn't just brush it off. And in the end, he ended up paying $100 more for the laptop than what he should have. But that was by his choice. That wasn't
Okay.
what
So
I asked. But
So
again,
it's his computers.
and the story comes back to you have to basically focus on yourself,
Right.
both. And in the sales business, you have to put customers first, and don't worry about the money. Money will always come if you treat the customers right.
And the motto of the company was that, hey, our customer always comes first. Don't talk back to the customer. Well, I didn't like that part, but when you when you work for a company, unfortunately, if you talk back to them, I got fired from a lot of jobs. All right, so. One last thing. So, what would you say is the biggest thing? So, talking about empowerment, like what we talk about usually when I see you, like on a day-to-day basis or every few days. Uh, give everybody else some ideas, like because you're a motivated person, you envision yourself as becoming very successful, right? So what would you say, Conrad, about how you would advise somebody else that may be in a similar situation that you are right now?
Basically, I would say set realistic goals that you know you can achieve. Don't set a goal that you know you cannot achieve. And basically, he pick something thing like in my case, I am currently homeless, but you don't see me standing on the corners begging people for money. I go to work, I make my money, me, I mind my business, and now I'm trying to figure out a plan to better my situation to get me off the street. That's a realistic goal.
Set realistic goals. Okay. Anything
So,
else?
well, like in my case, I know if I want to get off the street, I have to get a full-time job.
So if you could be any person you are, and we talked about stepping into those shoes, who would you be right now, today, here, at this minute?
Honestly, the exact person I am now, because
Okay.
it life throws curbs at you, and it's up to you to live and learn from your mistakes and choose to better your situation. Don't stay like
Okay, so let me just ask you, kind of do a full scope on that.
yeah.
So what would you do? So what would be, what would you be doing as yourself, as your vocation? Like right now, let's say we just the fairy godmother, the genie just came down and granted our wish, and so what would you be doing? Who would you be? What would your job be? Let's just say it that way.
Honestly, right now, who I currently enjoy being a security guard.
Okay. So you'd work your way up in the security company, something
Yeah.
like that. Okay. All right.
But my ultimate goal
Awesome.
in a long term point of view is run my own company.
Right. So you'd be on the beach selling laptops, and you'd be doing everything from the beach, and
Basically,
while they'd be just shipping them out, and you'd be
Yeah.
collecting the money on your lounge chair with your tequila sunrise, right?
pretty much. But in the meantime, being a security guard is what I enjoy, because I know in the end, having that full-time job will get me off the street, which then will open more doors for me, because then I know I can take better care of myself, both, and
Okay.
then the look of being homeless will open up more doors. The look of not being homeless will open up more doors,
More opportunities.
and more opportunities, so I can get a better job.